Aloha. So here is my future pace video. And yeah, if we haven't met yet, my name is Eric Oliver and I'm here on my off-grid farm on the Big Island of Hawaii. And yeah, I've been giving a lot of thought to this, and it's something I kind of think about all the time anyway. And yeah, it feels like a great opportunity to just really dive in and actually record this and be able to look back on it in the future. And yeah, so I want to get into my future pace vision. But before I do that, I want to share this dream that I had. It was my waking dream this morning and it was super vivid. And yeah, so I'm going to share about that first. So I was in some sort of a bus and there was lots of other passengers on the bus and I was sitting in the window and we're kind of coming up a hillside. I think it was here in Hawaii. It kind of looked like Waimea area. And just as we were going up around this bend of a hill off out the window, I see this amazing home and it just drew me to it. I was just like, oh my God, that's amazing. I was just like, wow. And it was almost like castle-like, but really like modern and just beautiful, immaculate. And it was like white and it had, yeah, the colors were really unique. It had kind of just this really cool shade of green with white and interesting like motif on it with kind of like towers, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But then it gets more. As we continued up around over the crest of the hill, I saw there was like the main wing. That was just the side wing of the house, and the main wing was like, the main structure was just this huge building that was just, it was immense. And it had this enormous pivot door. I mean, a door like I've never seen before, a door of this dimension. It was like, it had to have been like 30 or 40 feet tall and probably like 20 feet wide or something like that. And it was open slightly and you could see into the room or into the space. And it was just this great room, huge, and the colors in there were really warm and inviting. It was like this kind of salmon orange color a little bit. It had this glow to it and it looked like just a great big wooden floor in the main area, and then towards the back I could see how there was like this stairway that went up and there was a space behind there, and it kind of had the energy of like that was like the master bedroom or something like that. And then the bus, continued driving on. I'm just like out the window like, oh my God. And then it was gone. And I was like, did you see that? Talking to the other passengers, did you see that? Did you see that? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I was describing it to them in detail and they were like, I don't know, I didn't see it. And then I stood up and I turned around to like see if anybody else saw it, and yeah, and then I was like, did you guys see that? And they were like, yeah, we saw that. And then it felt really cool to like connect with other people that actually saw the vision also. And then I woke up and it was morning and I was like, oh my God, that was my house. And, or at least some version of it. And yeah, architecture is something that really deeply inspires me. I've built some really cool structures here on my farm. I built this amazing 4-story jungle home here, which still isn't finished, but it's quite a thing. And yeah, I've built some other really cool structures at previous properties that I've had in different parts of the world. And yeah, I feel like every time I build something, the vision, I have a long case history of building amazing structures and never finishing them, because by the time I get to, where it's almost complete, I have a new vision of something better. And so yeah, that's been kind of a theme, but eventually I'll get to where I can, hire out help, because I've built them all myself in the past. Eventually I'll get to where I'm at an income level where I can hire out help to actually complete the job. So yeah, building homes, like architecture, is something that has always deeply inspired me. and yeah, have had just the most inspired, amazing, like heartfelt visions of amazing homes that I want to build one day. And yeah, for myself to live in, but it also like this feels like a talent, like a gift, having the visionary process around creating these structures in my mind, and then being able to work with other engine. A lot of them are large, so I would have to work with engineers and that kind of thing, and building planners and whole crews of people that would actually build them. But my future self is doing that, and yeah, another level of something that's really deep in my core of my core purpose and passion in life is my art. And yeah, I feel like architecture is just sort of like a branch of that creative flow. And yeah, I've have artists on all sides of my family, and was just super creative and productive as an artist growing up into my early 20s, and then it stopped, and I got a severe creative block about 20 years ago, and I have barely picked up my paints in 20 years until a few months ago. All of a sudden that's opened back up again, and I've started painting again, and I set up a studio here in my home. And yeah, I mean, it brings me almost to tears sometimes when I like just even adding the paint to my palette and starting to vision the next painting. And it's something that is so deep in my core purpose, and there's so much there, and there's so much I want to share and express through my art. And yeah, I feel really grateful to be back in a flow with that. And the future version of myself is traveling. And I've been really in one spot here on my farm in Hawaii for the past 8 years. And in the beginning, there was nowhere else in the world I wanted to be. And now I'm feeling just kind of stuck here until I really up my financial situation to where I have the ability to travel. So my future self is moving around. I envision, well, I have the dream of having a really nice, so my future self has a really nice Sprinter van. They make them electric now, so that's even better. I'll have a beautiful forest green Mercedes Sprinter van with a cargo like case on top that can hold large, 8-foot tall canvases with, stacks. I can stack them in there and have all my art supplies. And I'm on tour, cruising around the country on the mainland United States, especially the West Coast, like conscious music and arts festival circuit in the summertime. And I'm doing live art, like painting these large canvases on stage with DJs and other musicians and lots of people, thousands of people around. And yeah, that's really my dream. And I have an opportunity to tour with a friend of mine who has a really successful jam band, and I just need to get myself out there, and the opportunity is there. I have an invitation to do live painting on stage with him, and they have a big following. It's more on the East Coast of the United States, which is not really where I want to be, but it's a good start. So I feel like that's a good starting point of touring with my art and getting it out there, and yeah, eventually expanding into the West Coast and on the whole, the more conscious music and arts festival scene. And I also am really a homebody. I'm kind of like a hobbit when it comes to traveling. I'm like, I don't want to travel anywhere until I do travel, and then I'm like all over the world. But that being said, I also envision myself having, really nice home spaces. So the future version of myself has studio spaces set up in various locations around the country and eventually around the world, where I see it really clear in my mind. It's like these big, very tall ceiling, like double height ceiling, 20-foot tall ceiling with nice natural light coming in, an inspiring view through the windows. Maybe it's in the city. I feel like a lot of these spaces are in the city. I've never lived in a city before. I've always been very avoidant of them. And there's this part of me that has been growing for the past year or so that just feels so inspired by being in a city. And when I think about what city, I'm like, I don't know. It's not just one city. It's like many of them, and yeah, so I feel like my future self is definitely traveling a lot, but also has these home bases where there's these big, beautiful studio spaces and comfortable, luxurious homes that I get to ground into and really dive into my creative flow and process with that. And yeah, the very future version of myself has this amazing property where I build my forever home. And this is something I've been giving so much. I see such a clear image in my mind, and it's always evolving also, but it's like this structure that's a kind of architecture where it's like it's built over a metal framework, like a sculpture kind of, and it has, it's basically like ferro cement or spray concrete, something like that, to cover the frame. And that gives you the freedom to create all kinds of curved structural elements where you're not confined to just like square boxes, but it's like this spiraling, like almost like seashell kind of energy that flows and has all these different wings that branch off, and it's multi-leveled and has big open spaces on the inside and upper areas where it's like, open. I always had a thing for courtyards. I feel like every great home should have a courtyard in the middle that has this beautiful garden space that's outdoors yet fully enclosed by the home. And there's definitely one in this home. And at the root of what brings all this vision into being, what gets me unstuck from being here on my farm in Hawaii, while it's a beautiful place and I'm so grateful for it and I love it here, there are so many things that drive me nuts about it. And mostly it's just the feeling of being stuck here. I'm no longer choosing to be here. I just feel like this is my circumstance, and until I do something to change the circumstance, I'm stuck here. And the tool that I'm working with now to get myself unstuck and put my vision in motion is building my business with Enagic. And it's something I've been building very consistently for the past 4 years. I just celebrated my 4-year anniversary on the 25th of this month, so just the other day. And it's been a slow climb. I'm very close to hitting 4A, and it's been an incredible journey to get here. And my future self is absolutely crushing it with my Enagic business. And my future self that's just off on the horizon just a little bit from here where I'm at now is making lots of sales, ranking up, attracting amazing leaders into my team that are, crushing their goals, have clear guided vision, and are self-driven leaders that are there to work alongside me and support each other in our journey forward. And this is what's going to be the driving factor to put it all in motion, to where later on I'm more just focusing on my art specifically, and the Enagic business is just kind of like happening simultaneously without as much effort. Like right now, it's just like putting immense effort. It's like trying to get the wheels of a freight train moving from like a slow pace from a stop into trying to get it forward. And my future version of myself, it's cruising along, just chugging along at top speed with all the momentum it needs to just keep it moving to where I can focus fully on my art. Yet the Enagic business is just like blowing up and, beyond my wildest dreams. That is my wildest dream. And getting my art out there into the world and being able to travel very freely and wherever I feel the calling to go. So that's my future self. I know I'll get there. Thanks for watching, you guys. Much love.